What's going on, guys? Joey here, coming at you with another informative video. This video was partly inspired by the video that Russ just posted featuring a little audio clip from myself. We talked about why I'm having him move to 4 times a week bench. If you have not already, please go watch that video. And I'm just going to kind of expand on the topic, apply it more to squat and deadlift. And yeah, I think this is a good topic that people are constantly thinking about and asking me about, so I think it'll be really good to kind of address it here. So, we'll be answering the question, when should you add more frequency? There's a couple factors that you need to take into consideration whether or not you should do such a thing. Recovery, food, sleep, water, life stress, um, to name a few. I'm just going to kind of go down each one. Recovery, so given the amount of training that you're doing, are you able to recover from that training? Assuming all the factors are good and sort of show somewhat of an upward trend. It doesn't have to be linearly every week, but just over the course of many months, is there an increase in the amount of weight that you're lifting? Um, you may be in a sweet spot if it's kind of inconsistent, but yeah, that is a huge factor. If you cannot tolerate the work you're doing, if you're feeling beat up, if you're run down and stuff like that, then there's no way that you could even consider adding another day, because you're probably going to end up getting hurt. I could see an instance where you had a ridiculously easy day for blood flow, which could potentially help, but honestly, I would not do it unless you're hitting your training weeks. It's been weeks and weeks, and then you're coming in on your singles or your early, beginning of the week, and you just feel fresh. You're just like, I feel pretty good. I feel like I worked last week, but it's not really too bad. That may be an indication that you should try to add another day. Even when you add that other day, the way that you do it is very important. Recovery still needs to be a main focus. Anytime you jeopardize recovery, you're not going to get the results that you want. In order for you to recover from the work that you're doing, you need to be eating enough food. So you need to be in a slight surplus or at maintenance in order to fuel the work that you're doing. This might change depending on what phase of training you're in. Water should be present at all times. The more water you drink, the faster you recover, the healthier you're going to be, the less issues you're going to have. Sleep obviously is very important. I have a guy right now, he only sleeps 4 hours a day, and it's very difficult to get anything like crazy out of him or have any really high expectations if he's only sleeping, extremely minimal time during the day. How can I potentially add another day when you're tired all the time? Not sleeping does terrible things to your body. For men, we needed to just keep our hormones in check, like testosterone and things like that, growth hormone and all that. And not sleeping is like one of the fastest ways to tank your lifts. So yeah, food, sleep, recovery, water, life stress. What is happening outside of the gym that is affecting you as a person, both mentally and then inevitably physically, right? Have you guys ever had those days where you've just had some crazy negative shit going on outside of the gym and it just completely takes away from you being in the gym? There have been times when I've been at the gym. I literally remember myself like at zoo culture, but my mind is so focused on this like thing that I'm worried about or this thing that I have to handle that's outside of the gym that it just makes it so hard to train. It's very, very difficult to train. At the end of the day, we have other things other than training that are very important to us. And if we can't, if we can't handle those things, um, or mentally be able to compartmentalize them until it's time to deal with them again, then it's going to be very difficult to be super demanding out of your training. Anytime you're adding any kind of frequency, it's going to demand more of your body, and you need to make sure that the systems in place um, are well taken care of in order for you to sort of facilitate that training from happening. Really quickly, I want to talk on yearly planning because I had someone, I don't know if it was a joke, but they said something about annual. Do I know what the word annual means because I mentioned it in regards to rest? Yes, I do. For my lifters, I plan for the year, right? It is an annual thing. If I have 12 months to bring a lifter's lifts up, then I'm going to pick specific times during that year in order to focus on specific things. Um, you know, if we have two meets during the year, I might save the hardest parts of the year for those times. Um, but yeah, uh, so that was that point. Um, Another interesting thought that I heard, I was listening to an interview with some MMA fighters, and they said something about insecurity and rest days, which, I try to relate everything to powerlifting, and I thought to myself, if you are someone that is constantly overshooting intentionally, even though deep down you know that you shouldn't, does that mean you're a little bit insecure about your lifts? Does that mean you don't trust the process? Does that mean that you sort of, maybe you haven't gone heavy in a while and you want to push it because you're somewhat insecure in quotations about your max lifts and you just kind of need something to justify your strength or something like that? Um, I do think in a sense there is some insecurity that comes from like just a lack of confidence, a lack of ability to trust the process and the things that you're doing. Sometimes it comes from ignorance, so it's not necessarily insecurity. Um, but I mean, you have to trust the process. You have to understand, that adding more days is not something that should be taken lightly. Adding more days should be done calculated. It should be done with extreme care. It should be done with the goal in mind. And you need to be able to trust, in my opinion, if you are somebody that trains not as frequent as someone that trains super frequent, then you need to have more trust in your training because you're not going to be doing it as much. You're not going to have the actual chance to live in the moment and sort of justify what you're experiencing or justify, your lifting or validate yourself as a lifter because you're going to be training less frequent, right? I only compete 2 times a year. It's probably going to go down to one or even less, right? And I am very secure with my methods and the way that I do things, and I'm very calm about it. And I don't need to rush to get to a competition. I don't need to rush to push myself, to be meet ready year round. I don't need to constantly hit my meet day numbers in the gym to feel like I'm strong, right? Because I trust the process. There's nothing insecure about me, taking my time. And yes, we all do. We all do go out of pocket a little bit. We all do. You feel strong, so you push it a little bit and you hit a PR. That's a little bit different because you don't do it all the time. And you trust your lifting, you trust the weight on the bar, and you do it. You don't do it lightly, right? Um, but I think it's very important to, like I said, you cannot just add another day willy nilly. You need to do it with all these other factors in check. Then we can begin to start talking about adding another day. You should write out the gains that you're currently on and really get a good idea of how you're progressing with your current frequency. Then you can kind of understand what your body needs and when it needs a push. If all the stars align, if conditions are met, you can add a third day. You could potentially add a fourth day. You could potentially add a fifth day. And what is going to allow you to come to this conclusion should be the feedback that you're getting from training, all the other variables that we talked about before, and then it should be a calculated decision. It is not something, I know I'm repeating myself, but I really want to hammer this home. It is not something that you just like, oh, I had a bad day, let me add another day. No, that is actually the worst way to go about it. That is like the fastest way to burn out, get injured, just tank your lifts even more. You get super frustrated, you change your stance, you change your technique, you change your program, you start blaming things, you point the finger, you know what I mean? Being a good lifter is about being accountable. It's about looking at yourself in the mirror and understanding, this is me, this is who I am. You have to create realistic expectations for yourself. So, what things should you be looking for per each lift? So on your deadlift, like what kind of progress can you expect? On your bench, what kind of progress can you expect? On your squat, squat, what kind of progress can you expect? I gave this example before. For me, it's like, shit, it's been anywhere from 20 to 5 kilos on squat, maybe only 5 to 10 pounds on bench. 5 pounds on bench, I'd be happy. On deadlift, I kind of do a little bit different, but I would say anywhere from 10 to 5 kg. That's where I feel I can make consistent progress over time, without getting injured. That's me, right? Um, Everybody's different. Everybody's gonna have, different rates of progress, and we live in a day and age now where everybody's looking at everybody on social media. So maybe you see Like, your bench, maybe your bench, you need to kind of accept, 5 kg PRs 3 times a year, right? Maybe you want more than that, and you see a competitor who's hitting way more than that, and they're progressing way faster. So you compare yourself unfairly to someone who has favorable genetics and leverages for a lift that allows them in order, to make that kind of progress, right? You completely disregard the total as a whole when you're just comparing yourself, oh, that guy's lift is better than mine, I need to progress like them. That is incorrect. That you should not do that. You're literally going to go insane if you do this. I'm speaking primarily to my super young lifters that are very young and inexperienced, and they do this thing constantly. I've even had instances in the past where some lifters have completely got off social media because they simply could not. They don't know how to use the mute button. They don't know how to say, me looking at this person is bad for my mental health. Um, you know what I mean? So, you just need to get away from it. I'm the same. Sometimes there are just people that can be themselves and they bring out the worst in me, right? Like from a personal, just like a personal relationship kind of thing. So I just got to get away from them. There's nothing wrong on them. That's just their personality, my personality, or their what they do. It puts me in a bad mindset, or it's just not good for me. So I just get away from them. Um, and there's nothing wrong with that. You're not hurting anyone. You're minding your own business. Hey guys, at the end of the day, just mind your business. Everything will be okay. Stay in the pocket. You know. Um, let's get a hashtag stay in the pocket in the comments down below. Quick video, but like really, really good. Just short, compact information. Just want to knock this one out. Give you guys something. If you guys haven't already, like I said, go check out the rest of the last video. We talk about bench. That being said, thank you everyone for making it this far. We're doing a restock on the banners. We're doing a restock on the apparel in general. Code FLEX10 if you purchase PR Breaker. Check the ebook down below. Thank you guys so much, and I'll talk to you in the next one. Peace.